Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call.
What's your go-to Applebee's order?
I don't go to Applebee's. We actually call it Crapplebee's, to be honest.
Who's the better team right now, Creighton, Marquette, or UConn?
Con.
What are you doing? What is that? Pray for Fanta. Oh, come on, Zach. Here we go. It's last call.
Welcome to the Wednesday evening edition of Field of 68's last call here on Stadium and on the Stadium YouTube channel. For the next 30 minutes, Doug Gottlieb, Jeff Goodman, and myself, Rob Dosser, will be answering your questions that you drop in the chat. You fire away at us. These things can get fun. They can get a little bit weird. They can get a little bit random. I promise you, if you ask us a question, no matter what it is going to be answered. It's like a Ron Burgundy Anchorman situation. It gets put in a Google Doc that I have, and I the question. I don't even think I'm told to ask. So we're going to start with this. It is from Tyler G. Doug, I'm going to go to you first on this one. It says thoughts on this USC Arizona game, but I kind of want to expand that a little bit. Just thoughts on USC in general as well, because that was a team I thought had a chance to be like top 20 good coming into the season, and between injuries and maybe a little bit of selfishness going on involved there. They are currently sitting at 8-9, and it looks like they're going to drop to 8-10 and 2-5 in the Pac-12 with this loss.
And Bronny James getting his first start playing really point guard, and he hasn't been bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got 4 turnovers, 5 of 12 from the floor. I think it's everything. They're everything you think they are, right? Like you got just a weird mix of guys where you have Collier, who's not playing in this game, really talented kid, but he's just a freshman, doesn't really want to guard, can't really shoot. And I'm sure very much looking at his draft stock thinking this was a mistake. You know, then you got Boogie Ellis, who, you know, been around forever, and there's a reason he's not in the NBA. I mean, he was over-recruited. I mean, I remember at the time my brother was at Oregon State. He's like, man, I got a chance at Boogie Ellis. And all of a sudden he blew up in recruiting, and then Duke took him. And he wasn't a Duke-level player, and Memphis was a little bit high level for him, and then USC. You know, he's a good player, but what happens is kind of everybody's fighting for their status a little bit. And then I don't think the Bronny thing. I actually think they're probably a better team with Bronny playing more than Collier because he doesn't play with a ton of ego. Like he's not really ready to be great, but he moves the ball. He just plays. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So. Yeah, I think it's a weird mix of dudes, and it's one of those. It's one of those people will buy in because they see names on a paper, but they've never really played like a team. And the big guys don't ever get the basketball. Like, dude, if you want to get it and you're playing a 4 or 5, you're gonna have to get it off the rim. And it's a weird team, right? Like you have because Johnny Wright's a former McDonald's All-American. Now he's coming off the bench, but like he like never gets the ball, ever. Just set screen, go get it off the rim. So it's a weird mix. Whereas you have an Arizona team that, like, I don't know if they have guys that'll play in the NBA, but they're not pros. Right? They got a nice team, but they play hard, they play tough, they play together, like pretty good.
I had heard so many good things about Collier as a team guy going into this year. So I actually thought, like, this might work, right? Like, young dude, talented. Boogie's a veteran. He can help. At that point, Bronny was healthy. He can move the ball and just be a piece coming off the bench. Yeah, LeBron's not going to be happy with his role, but, like, Bronny will be okay. Like, everything went wrong that could go wrong with this team. Everything. And,
it's weird. I don't want to – I want to make sure we're very clear. I am not blaming Bronny James. But the same thing happened with Sierra Canyon last year, right? And like Bronny's not a selfish kid. He doesn't play a selfish style. And again, I don't think that's the only issue here, but it's really, really hard to have that on your team.
But why? Okay,
it just is.
All right, can we get into this a little bit? You've said this before, and I understand it. But if the kid is unselfish, which I think he is, now obviously it comes with a ton of attention. We know that. Like, I remember being at a game, an AU game a few years ago. Amani Bates was the number one player on one court. Bronny was a top 100-ish player at that point on the adjacent court. You couldn't get in to watch Bronny, and there were like 25 people at that point watching Amani Bates. So, like, it's been a circus around Bronny, but Bronny doesn't act the part of the clown.
Again, I'm not blaming
all.
Bronny James. I'm just telling you the circus is not great for business. Just not, you know.
Is it just other guys are getting jealous of the attention that he's getting, that they're not getting the same level of coverage that he is?
I'm sure there's a little bit of everything, Rob. I'm sure there's, again, without having intricate on the ground knowledge, I'm sure there's a guy or two that's jealous. Like, why is he getting the attention? Like, he's gotten attention, and until tonight he hadn't really done much, right? He had the one game in which he played. Well, the one game he had double figure four, they were down 30 to Oregon State on the road, right? Who's not talent-wise should not be up 30 on you. So I think there's some guys that are jealous.
Doug, what was your reaction when LeBron 2 weeks ago, almost to the day, said Bronny can play for the Lakers easily? What was I mean, that was mine too. That was mine too. Like,
I tell you, my high school coach, a shout out to a man named Andy Ground. He was a good player, very great high school coach, went on and he became a 4-time state champion junior college coach. And now he's retired, but he's helping out at a high school in Orange County, Santa Margarita, actually, which is where Klay Thompson went. Anyway, he said something about, because I coached an AAU program, and he was like, just remember, parents are blinded by love, right? Your dad was blinded by love. Everybody blinded by love. LeBron James said, and I'm sure it was part of it was at the time the Lakers were in a losing streak. He's like, he could play for us. Like, dude, he can't play.
No.
I love you, but no.
Right.
Like last year, he was tweeting that he could play in the NBA. Like, he can't play in the NBA. He's like, until tonight, he couldn't start at USC. And yes, you started, but you lost by 20. Like,
well, you only started. Wait, Doug,
that doesn't work in a locker room
because Collier and Boogie Ellis are hurt. That's the only reason he started.
Correct. Otherwise, he's seventh or eighth on the team, which is about right. And again, he's not a bad kid.
He's a nice player.
Going to be a really good. If he stays in college, it's going to be a really good college player. Honestly, his progression should be like college kids used to be. Right? Comes off the bench first year, next year probably start. Third year he's all league. Fourth year, he has a chance to do something really special. That would be the natural progression. The problem is that, like, LeBron wants to microwave this thing, and he's just not there. You know, he's the size of a point guard, but not really a point guard. You know, he doesn't really know how to take over a game. So anyway, Rob, to your point, I'm sure there's a guy that's jealous. There's just some guys who, because of the extra attention, they act out of sorts. And then, oh yeah, by the way, they got their own issues, their own agendas. Collier trying to be the number one pick. You know, guys that want to be drafted don't want to get hurt, right? It doesn't mean, and again, I think it's ridiculous. The likelihood of injury in playing a basketball game is remote, but you have all these other agendas, and the teams that win have one agenda, winning. And that does not appear to be the agenda here. They're selfish. They don't play particularly hard. They don't use their big guys at all. You know, and you are who your best player is. And if Isaiah Collier is your best player, he doesn't shoot it great. He doesn't defend great. And I think that's why they're a 500 basketball team, despite the fact that if you line them up in a pickup ball roster, like, you'd take a bunch of their guys. Kobe Johnson you take, but he's taking bad shots because he's fighting for his clout. Yep.
All right, real quick, we got about a minute here before we go to break. What do you guys make of everything that is going on at UCLA right now? And Goodman, I'll go to you first on this one. There's a circus over there too. It's the USC is not the only circus in town.
Yeah, no, you're right. Plenty of circuses to attend. Listen, again, when Mick Cronin took all these international guys, I was out on them. I mean, I just said, like, this does not work. It does not fit Mick Cronin. And when he's trying to tell me a Dembona is going to be a lottery pick, I'm like, how? He can't score. He plays hard, He plays hard. He's a good, like good, solid player. But you better surround him with 4 dudes who can score. And listen. Yeah, this is going to have to be a complete reset by Mick Cronin after this season. Complete reset, and try to get UCLA back on track.
Yep. Well, listen, we gotta go to break here. On the other side of break, we're going to talk a little bit about Michigan, Illinois. We're going to talk a little bit about Arizona and their path in the tournament. Now, I'm going to ask these guys how confident they are that North Carolina, who rolled Louisville tonight and who I've said I think is as dangerous as anyone in college basketball, can make it to Phoenix. Welcome back. Wednesday evening edition of the Field of 68's Last Call. We are live on Stadium. We are live on the Stadium YouTube channel, and we are going to be answering your questions for the next, about 18 or 19 minutes. We ended on a question at the end of the last segment about UCLA, and Goodman was the only one that was able to answer because Goodman just sat there and talked for 17 minutes nonstop. Doug, you want to weigh in on UCLA?
I never do that. That's Douglas. That is not me.
Look, we were talking UCLA and what's gone so wrong. I would say, it's all in recruiting. And Mick will tell you, and he's right, they don't have the NIL and it's hard for transfers also to the UC system.
To get in.
Right? It's hard to get them in. Timing-wise, it's hard, and you have to have at least some academic repute to get in there. And they're young. You don't win with Sebastian Max, their best player. He's only a freshman. So I think if they can retain guys, I think this can be a good group. Remember, he's had old players. He walked into a magic.
How are they going to retain these guys, Doug, when he's crushing them at every turn? They're not – these international guys, I'm surprised they haven't already jumped on a flight back home.
International guys have been coached. They haven't been coddled when they're kids. They like coaching. Now, he's missed on some of the international guys as well, where it's hard to go hey, I'm going to hire an international assistant and take his word for it. Right? That's hard. Whereas,
and a different,
Tommy Lloyd is Tommy Lloyd's been doing this for
not the one that you had.
Tommy Lloyd's been doing this for 20 years. But here's the big issue. Okay, when it ends in Westwood, almost always is when you can't recruit LA. Right? And I'm sure he passed on Bronny and didn't want that because he didn't want the circus. Understood? That doesn't mesh with even though honestly, Bronny James would outside of what Mick says to the media, how he coaches, how he plays, that actually would be a good fit. But Jared McCain, Dusty Stromer, Caleb Foster. Right? Yeah. Do you know where they played high school basketball? Right down the street from UCLA. Right? And they used to be, hey, we don't have facilities. We got a brand new practice facility. The arena's beautiful. Right? They've been good. Hey, put people in. So and I'm sure some of that's NIL, but some of that also is like, hey, you got to figure out a way to get one of these dudes to stay home, and then they like the only guy they could hold on from the two guys they held on to were Adembona, and like, look, Mick, if you really think he doesn't really think he's a pro, if Adembona was a pro, do you know where he'd be playing right now? In the NBA. He's like 6'7.5". He's going to be an awesome college player. And maybe he plays in the NBA if he develops over the next couple of years. But he's a roll to the rim and shot blocker guy, like you said, Jeff. And you got to have a ball screen point guard. You got to have shooter space away. They're too young. They've missed on some internationals. They haven't gotten LA kids. And then, frankly, like I don't know. Like, look, maybe the worst thing that happened is they reacted well to the browbeating publicly when they got hammered 90-44, and he starts saying, "I'm gonna pull scholarships." They won their next two, but I don't know how many times you can go to the whip on that one. So yeah, it's not great. It's not great, but he is, and almost all these UCLA coaches, the past couple, Alford, same thing happened. Howland recruited well when he got in there, but when they first get there, the previous coach did a good job, and they got good players. Like all those guys that were good for UCLA, like Alford signed them.
And they evaluated. Remember, they have Ben Howland, like he got a little lucky too with Russ and with Collison.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yes, but when he first when he first got there, he loaded up with studs. He recruited
Follow and Chip and some of those guys. Yeah.
And Jordan Farmar. Jordan Farmar was All-American, so those were
terrific.
Good kids.
Yep.
All right, next question coming from Eddie W. Goodman. We'll go to you first. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that North Carolina makes it to Phoenix?
Is this me or Doug?
Yes, you, Goodman.
Me? Okay.
Yeah, Goodman.
I'm confident. I'm confident that they make it. I'm not confident anybody makes it to Phoenix. Like, I'm not like betting my house on anybody, UConn and Purdue included. I think everybody's vulnerable here. I like this Carolina team a lot. I like their pieces. I like the way they play together. I don't think there's egos on this team. I love the way the ball moves. It does not stick. And again, I know that can be construed as a shot at Caleb Love. It didn't work.
It is a shot at Caleb. Just say Caleb Love was a pig. He shot the ball too much. They had terrible chemistry. This team, we thought they were bringing in two shooters with Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram. What we didn't realize is they would be top 5 in the country in adjusted defensive efficiency. They guard.
You know what Cormac?
They guard.
Hey, you know what Cormac was from 3 tonight? 4 of 7. He's
going to get his rhythm. And I think the next step is they got to get Kadu looking at the basket. They got to get Kadu shooting a little bit. That'll open up more of the offense. I like him. Likelihood of a Final Four run? 60%? 60.
Ooh,
that's higher than
a high number.
I'd say probably like 30, 35%, and that would probably be like the third highest number for me.
It's like I'm not in love with them, but like I look around like I'm not in love with a lot of teams. And they got a guard that can go get buckets. They got a big guy that can score. I think Ingram's a kind of an underrated, very versatile player, good rebounder. I think Seth Trimble's improving off the bench. Like he's given him some good minutes recently. And I think Kadu's going to keep getting better. Like they got a point guard. They got multiple ball handlers. They need a little bit more depth inside at the 5, but they're pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Goodman, give me
my number might have been high. I might talk myself into 40.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say 60% is really high. Goodman, give me your predictions for Michigan, Illinois tomorrow. That's from Kyle C.
Where's the game?
Michigan.
Do you know? At Michigan?
Yeah, so Doug gets to play.
Dougie can play. The real Dougie can play. I will say the Wolverines win this one at home. Fab Five getting into the arena in the Chrysler gave them a little bit of a lift. I think they're going to keep that going. They got a little swagger. And, again, Illinois, I'm not feeling it. I know Trevor's not happy with me here, but As I said to Doug on our show, I think it was yesterday, if you look in totality at Illinois from the moment Shannon got suspended till the end of the year, if he doesn't come back, I think you're going to look at him as like a fringe tournament team.
Got it in there. Oh, I love that. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Illinois in this spot, but I agree with a lot of what you just said right there. Sorry, Trevor. Listen, when we get back on the other side of the break, we got to talk about the worst matchup for Arizona, Memphis being in the top 10, and a Royal Rumble between every mascot in college basketball. Welcome back to the Wednesday evening edition of the Field of 68's Last Call. My name is Rob Dawser. I got Jeff Goodman, and I have Luka Doncic there with Doug Gottlieb. That is Doug's dog, who is actually named Luka Doncic.
Doncic? Did you
Yes.
name him, Doug?
Yeah, me and my son. We have Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, Odell Beckham Jr. And then we have Luka Doncic. So this guy's a rescue. He's awesome. Got a bath today. He's ready to go. He's been watching hoop all day.
Dying, man.
Yeah, those are great names for dogs. My dogs have been named Sasha and Cody. I get more creative. You're making me feel bad. All right, we'll roll through these quick. We got 3 more questions we got to get to. Goodman, we'll start with you. What is the worst matchup for Arizona in the NCAA tournament this year? Who do you not want to see as an Arizona alum?
Probably UConn. I mean, again, their size with Klingon's going to give Ballo some issues. I think Newton, Kai Boswell is just really struggling lately, and they got to get him back. But I just think, again, UConn with their mental toughness, Castle, you could put him on Caleb Love. That would be a tough matchup for Caleb Love because Castle's got more size and the athleticism. And by that point, he's already a damn good defender for a freshman. He'll get better and better.
Doug, you got a take on that?
Well, I mean, again, like I kind of think, Doster, you tell me if I'm wrong, that like when somebody asks you the worst matchups, they don't mean the number 1 team in the country. That's a bad matchup for a lot of people.
I know, but
I think
who else
they mean like. Well, okay, so what type of team? What they're asking is what type of team could upset an Arizona?
I'm
right?
glad you said it.
Like, UConn's a tough matchup. Like, well, no shit. The number 1 team in the country. Like, you know who's really hard? Kansas is really a tough matchup. Yeah, because they're awesome. Pick a team that people wouldn't think is a tough matchup. That's going to be a good matchup.
Yeah. I'm glad you said it and not me because Goodman will get really mad at me if I would have said it.
What do you mean it's hard? It's hard to
question right away to come up with a team that fits what's going to be a tough matchup for Arizona.
Here's a question: do you think Dayton would give them a tough game because Dayton has they had a stud All-American level big guy, and they can really spread you out. and space you. Like Dayton's a team that I know they're in the top 25, so it's not really that big an upset. But I don't think that people know what that looks like personnel wise. Would a Baylor's a top 10 team, so that's again not really an upset. But Baylor has bigs that can defend the rim, and R.J. Dennis, who's a fifth-year point guard, and they have a stud shooter. Like, what would that matchup look like? Or then you go kind of like further down the list, and I think Nova would be a hard matchup for him.
Yeah,
you know
what I
because
was going to say, Doug. I was going to say the three that immediately came to mind to me were Kentucky, Baylor, and New Mexico, because you got a little bit of size and athleticism inside, and you got a bunch of guards in the perimeter that can make shots and be able to create on their own, and that's kind of what Arizona is a little bit. I think Arizona is actually really matchup proof with Kashad Johnson and the versatility that they have, but I hear what you're saying. All right, the next question is Memphis, top 10 team in America. How do you feel about that, Doug?
No. I mean, dude, Quinterly bailed them out, and they won 2 games just because of Quinterly here recently. I think they were older and a little ahead of the curve in the non-conference. I think they're an NCAA tournament team. They're a nice team, and they have 2 older players that can really score, know how to play. That it's an older team too, so I think they'll win more games than they probably should because they got older kids that've been through it, that don't get fazed by it. But I don't think they're a top 10 team.
All right, Goodman. Last question of the night. This one comes from Trev. If every mascot in the country was in a fight, of 362 people were there, 362 mascots were there fighting, which mascot is going to be the one that wins? It's a tough one.
No, I mean, that's really hard. I mean, like,
no, it's not. Are we talking the actual mascot? Are we talking the actual mascot or the mascot that's on the sidelines?
Whatever you
like
want.
A Wolverine is a fierce little creature, but I'm going with somebody armed. Right, you got Texas Tech, you got West Virginia with the Mountaineer and Oklahoma State. They're armed.
Yeah, I'm going West
It's
Virginia.
easy.
I'm going West Virginia. Right. No,
solid pick.
I got West Virginia coming out of the
be hopped up on moonshine and shooting people with an old musket.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. I got one for you here. What about the Red Storm? Right? Are you really going to mess with Mother Nature? What do you think? What is a musket?
I mean, Red Storm and Golden Hurricane. No. Give me.
Yeah, what is a musket going to do against a hurricane? Nothing. You got no chance. You got to go with the weather here. You got to go with Mother Nature. It's not even close.
We're trying to take our guns.
About this.
And with that, listen, this has been the Field of 68's last call here on the stadium. We'll see you guys again tomorrow, 11 o'clock.